Ronin's back, slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture, films, and the world we see. Deleted scenes, where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Yeah, yeah. Speed out on your YouTube, bro, let's roll.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being American, and YouTuber Ronin. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's episode of Reserved Seats. Hopefully everybody can see and hear me okay. There's been a little bit of an issue backstage, but I think we'll work through it. I do want to say hello to everyone currently following along on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. And I do want to say hello to a few people who have joined us here in the live chat. First off, bringing the Geeky Geezers Raid, Netters Network, host of Thursday Things and my co-host on Live from Sparkwood and 21. Something last call, Dark Side Day. Wrench, just keep an eye on this guy. He can be trouble. Just saying. And hello to host of Geeky Geezers, Aged Boomer. Good to see you, sir. Thank you and Troy and Netter for bringing everybody over. All right. My guest tonight is clearly a masochist because he agreed to this. I have a first-time guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of Toxic Tuesday, 32 Flavors of Nickweiser.
Steven, what's up, buddy?
Indeed. Good to see you, sir.
Better
all right.
To see you. Talk to me.
Well, that's the show. Good night. No. Okay.
How are you, sir?
All right.
Great to see you.
Doing well.
How you doing?
Doing well. Trying to stay cool. It is very warm out. We've had like a 100 degree plus heat index going on for like the last few days. So it's been a chore, but we'll get through it. We got rain coming in, should cool everything off. So we're good. Summer is definitely here.
That's how it is, man. Nowadays, you don't like fall and spring are a moment, and then you get the Charlie Sheen two extreme opposite ends. One is summer and then winter. So America is getting to a point where we run on 2 seasons with a moment of spring or fall.
And I do want to say hello to channel member Geek Flag with Nate Nose. Good to see you, sir. Okay. And I can't do the show without Nate. Come on. Got to have Nate in the chat. Always.
Good. It's good to
There's
have
no show. There is no show without Nate.
No, exactly. No show without Nate. Okay, so he sounds like a good man, a reliable man.
He is, and he has his own channel where he's been making short films. And I got to be honest with you, guys. Anybody who's out there who is not yet subscribed to Nate's channel, please do so. He's got some outstanding content that I'd definitely like to see more of, and I would rather watch Nate's channel than half of what's out there right now.
Nice.
There you go. Probably more than half at this point. So, and thank you for the member chat saying, "What's up, Nick?
What's up, Nate? How you doing? Happy to see you here. Nice to meet you."
All right. So speaking of milestones, Toxic Tuesday just had its 5th anniversary, if I remember correct.
Yes, it did. 5 years, man. It's wild. It's so weird that happened. Like, it felt like those 3 hours were kind of like it just like flew by. And it was like, wow, this has been a thing for 5 years. And I feel like it kind of means like a lot because since I've been on YouTube, like I created the channel back in like 2013, 2012. I didn't really do anything. It's just kind of like there so I could have like a login in case I wanted to do something with it one day. But it wasn't until 2020 that I was like, oh, I should actually do something. So I've been on YouTube, for a little over 6 years now, and YouTube has had Toxic Tuesday for 5 of those years. And when Toxic Tuesday started, it was an idea of something I was going to do for summer of 2021. And then summer became, let's extend this a little bit into the fall. And then the fall kind of became, oh, we should just keep going with this. And here we are, like 5 years later. And I think it definitely, like years later, kind of means more now because in my time on YouTube, from not just when I started Toxic Tuesday 5 years ago, but when I got on here to be active on here 6 years ago, I've seen a lot of people come and go. People who I like, still like. And when I hung out with Zach briefly last year at the Vegas meetup, we had a bit of a conversation about this in person. We were talking about all these names we hadn't seen in a while. It was people in our chats or people who had channels, people who thought, oh God, this guy's really good or he's way better than me. And then they're just gone. It's really crazy to think how many people have come and gone. So the fact that I could have that persistence to have Toxic Tuesday last this long, we've had some rough roads in the last, I'd say, year and a half with Toxic Tuesday. Like the copyright claims were getting increasing to a point where videos were being outright removed from the channel. Had to do Rumble exclusive for a bit. Had some overlay issues. And then on top of it, then I was having Streamlabs issues. And now I'm back home at StreamYard. It feels like now with the timing of the 5-year anniversary, it feels like we're kind of like having a second win now of just having that energy and the fun and the chaos and the mayhem and just continuing to go. I don't want to stop. I have no desire to stop. And well, I like the future. I'm a big optimist.
Yeah. I mean, as I've put it before, because, I had my show earlier tonight, Unscripted, and I get into sometimes I go into some territory that, YouTube or maybe even sometimes my own listeners might not like. But, people do consistently return, and I'm at a point where I'm not worried about like upsetting some some random guy just pops up. Well, I dare say something. I'm more concerned like losing Nate or losing Connie or Depenzak or some of these people come back week to week. I guess it's like if I am playing to any particular audience, really in the end it's them.
I agree.
So
strongly agree with that. You gotta have you gotta have your core people who that listen to you, take the time to listen to you, and give consistent feedback. And those are the people you want to listen to the most. So it's one thing if you annoy that Joe Schmo over there on the left, but I feel like it's definitely important that you want to hear out the people who give time and money to your channel. You'll want to listen to those people because you may have something that might be unfair, and I'll actually hear them out. If I'm doing something wrong, if something's off, I want to hear them. They'll tell it to me, hey, this could be better. Hey, we need more of this. Hey, we need less of that. I'll listen to those people because I know they are in it to help me win it.
Indeed. And Qapla' to our resident Klingon, Mark Malnikoff. Good to see you, sir. Here I are. Like, share, subscribe, become a member, or face the wrath of the Klingon Empire. Exactly. I have the Klingon Empire behind me. Strength on.
I have learned about the Klingon Empire recently because of one episode from season 1 of Star Trek. I found so that's the Klingons, because I've heard that term before from a lot of Trekkies or especially in our corner of YouTube. But now that I finally have watched that episode where they address the Klingons, I'm like, oh, now I know a little bit about Khan as well. I'm like, oh, that's Khan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because
you're on track.
you are watching the original Star Trek for the first time.
Yep, ever. I've
Right.
never watched any Star Trek of any kind ever up until recently. Obviously, the show's on a 1 month break. We're actually almost halfway through the 1 month break. We'll be back with starting with season 2. I got my first two guests. One is anti-derivative Jill, and the week after that is Jason from Sci-Fi for Me TV. And you know, if you ever want to come on and talk some Trek, the door is always open.
Right on. All right. Well, pencil me in for the Spock's Brain episode. No, not that. Not that. There's a couple of episodes in season 3 that are, but yeah, I tell you, for me, season 1, especially, and it's weird because the episode that I always seem to gravitate back to is the court-martial episode, where Kirk gets basically accused of murder, basically, because he gets accused of jettisoning one of his crew out of the ship in the middle of this crisis, and it really does become kind of like A Few Good Men, kind of Star Trek style, he basically pretty much, because Starfleet, as they do, tends to want to sweep things under the rug, just kind of quietly resign and, just forget all about it. And, and he's like, I demand a court martial. I want my day on court, and we get some pretty interesting kind of side characters in that episode too, because we get the character of this lawyer who's Samuel Cogley, played by Elisha Cook, who was this great character actor who went back to the 40s, maybe even the 30s. That man was in many films, and usually kind of the gun for hire too, and like a lot of noir films like Big Sleep and stuff like that. And you also get Joan Marshall's Ariel Shaw, who is the prosecutor, who is kind of a former flame of Kirk's, of course, because of course she is, so that kind of plays into things too.
Great character for that episode, by the way. Great character.
Indeed.
Boy, did that add the tension to it. It really did, because you could see Kirk was trying to make the moves until she said, you can't really do that because I'm kind of involved in your case and I'm on the opposition. I'm like,
oh,
bro, this just escalated very quickly.
Game over. The Federation sucks. Of course,
it's a great episode.
It is a good one, and how it ends up working itself out is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting too. So, and how they go back and just how, and of course, in the end, it's really Spock that saves the day there. And
straight up saves the day. It really is. Like, it makes you wonder what could have been had he not been there.
Yeah.
Man, no, dude. I'm happy I got into it. And even, I'm funny enough that reserve seat's number 38 because I am 38. So it's kind of like a golden number that I have this number. And getting into Star Trek at 38 is really cool because I'm talking to a lot of people who lived with these episodes for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades. And since I'm the normie in this situation, everyone's kind of like saying, yeah, you're kind of having similar impressions to what I had when I first saw these episodes. So it's kind of cool to see that, except I'm seeing it way later, comparatively speaking, than everybody else. Yet I'm having a lot of similar thoughts and feelings. Like, I remember we discussed this with Toxic Man Flu when he was a guest for one of those episodes. And he's like, man, I remember that feeling when I saw this. And you and I, it's so weird to hear someone say the things that I was thinking half a century ago. I'm like, yeah, it is kind of trippy, actually. That's pretty wild.
And thank you, Netter, for the gifting a membership. Let's see who the lucky winner is. Come on, YouTube. And it's D. Penzak. Right on. Perfect.
I love that.
So congratulations to D Penzak for becoming a member.
I love gifting members. I'm a big fan of gifting members. It's what we do around the spot. We're big fans, huge fans. Some might say we're the biggest fans. Would you say so, Stephen?
Very big.
Yes.
So very big. Very big.
Yes.
I'm not even sitting down right now. No. Watch out over there.
Oh man, that's great.
You did your R-rated show already. Knock it off. Okay, this is fun time. Careful.
Oh,
all right. Indeed. So the first, you see, it's very odd, the timeline for me, because very much like with Star Wars, the original 77 Star Wars, it's like I know that I didn't see Star Wars in theaters when I was a kid. It's kind of a weird reason. My parents thought I would be scared by the aliens in the cantina scene, so they didn't take me.
Really?
Wow. I don't think I would have been, but anyway. So that's why I didn't, or at least I don't recall first time around seeing Star Wars in theaters. That may have changed. But when I got to Empire, I knew the characters, I knew the story, I knew where we were, but I don't remember when or where I originally saw Star Wars. Now, Star Trek is kind of the same thing, because when I was a kid, it was in syndication. And you also had the animated series as well. And somebody, if they ever do, when they ever get Star Trek back on track, please do Mr. Eriks as a character, please, because that guy is awesome. And they could do it now because you got CGI and or makeup, so you can do it. But he was very much a character who was meant for the animated series, and I would like to see him in live action, please. So by the time I got to Star Trek: The Motion Picture, again, I was aware of like who the characters were, how do they fit into this world, what world we're in as, even if I might not necessarily have all the answers, I can look and go, okay, I know who Scotty is, and I know who Uhura is, and so even if I might not necessarily remember, or I've just forgotten, but that's what was there. And I just want to see these shows return to their former glory, as I'm sure, because like I said, Troy does the show, which is actually coming up next, folks, over on Troy's channel, Doctor Who, Invasion of the Daleks, and which is where they got the original Peter Cushing movie from. And so now that I'm watching these earlier Doctor Who episodes, I can understand why that show became popular, and I can now tell where that show went off the rails. And I honestly do believe there's a point that you can quit watching Doctor Who, and that's after Capaldi, certainly, and maybe even I've heard some people even say maybe after Matt Smith to stop there, but like I'm not like the Doctor Who aficionado. I'm kind of playing catch up to that. But it's weird because I feel like I'm playing catch up on something that is already dead and gone in a way. But yeah, I mean, that's one good thing about YouTube is you have people who are knowledgeable in certain things, and part of the good thing is you have people who are out there kind of spreading that knowledge, and you get to learn and catch up. I would never have seen Blake 7, if it weren't for Troy. Even though, honestly, after season 2, it should be Avon 7, let's be honest, because you don't have Blake after that. Spoiler alert. So, I would never know. I would eventually like to do like a person of interest watch party, so I can bring that show to people who didn't see it originally.
I like that. No, I like that a lot. So I'm thinking about how I have approached that with Trek because, yeah, you're right. We're playing catch up with stuff that has been around all of our lives, longer than you and I have both been alive. It is kind of funny how that happens. I think the one advantage that guys like you and I have, though, comparatively speaking to a lot of our peers, is we now have a point that we can stop unless we choose to that enter if you dare, if we really want to. But I think we can just have that point where we can avoid getting burned. I don't need to walk that minefield. I've had more than enough friends who've walked it for me, and I don't want to join them. They've already done that. I've already walked on fire in the very literal sense in my life twice. So I'm good with not walking on the figurative fire of destruction of pop culture property because I've already done that with other things that I've liked. So I don't want to put myself through the ringer for more of that. So I will figure out where my stopping point will be, but I'm going to make sure it has nothing to do with what's going on in the last decade and a half of Trek. I will make sure of that. I want to have that advantage of not being burned by that. And I'm glad I know I have a stopping point.
I honestly, I think you're good up through Voyager. And it's kind of after that, pretty much Kurtzman stuff. I think you can pretty much just skip. But, and people are like, and I agree, Voyager is kind of hit and miss. And honestly, so is Enterprise. But
I've heard a lot of that about both of them. But I hear that even when they miss, apparently they're still Trek. And I think that's a big deal when it's still Trek. So I think we have that advantage, and I'm glad we do have that advantage. Once again, with Trek, we're getting the things you're getting at Doctor Who late in your life, and that's gotta be wild for you. And I'm glad you mentioned like you could see where something goes wrong in a way because it's like, okay, I've heard so many like complaints and criticisms about where Trek went wrong. I actually kind of know some of these arguments. They're kind of like ingrained in my memory because of friends like Claw B, Mark D with a C, and I would think about those arguments and they would kind of come up in my head while I was watching these episodes. I'm like, oh, I could kind of see their point in some of the stuff, even though I've not even watched the newer Trek. So I'm already kind of somewhat understanding some of these arguments on the critical side of what current Trek has become. Because when I see these things being described as stuff that actually was, I guess you could say, genuinely progressive stuff that did get you to think how to think, not what to think. I see it sprinkled all over the show like sprinkles on a cake. Yeah, it's cool, and now it helps me have that additional context to understand their arguments more, which I love. And that's just with one full season of Trek under my belt. I definitely have a better understanding. I've not even gotten the full pie yet. Right now, I'm kind of like I'm at that point where it's like I've had like a quarter of the pie because some people say the animated series is basically the spiritual fourth season. So I'm including that in my watch through. And any movies that are connected to the original series, I'll probably do too. Then once I'm done with all that, I'll think about, do I want to go TNG? Do I want to do DS9? I ain't going to think that far ahead. I just know right now where I'm starting and stopping with this. And should my ambition continue to be more desirable, I might go another route. And who knows what that route might be.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mark Mankov says, I'm having the same epiphany watching Babylon 5 fully for the first time. Episode 14, season 1 with Ivanova really got to me. Why didn't I watch it 30 years ago? Well, Babylon 5 is interesting because I didn't watch it at first either, because I watched the pilot movie originally, and I really didn't get it. It wasn't really for me. But my dad started watching it. And, you know, you really should sit down and give this a second try, basically. And so I did. And it does get better. And yes, granted, some of the special effects are definitely dated. Yeah. And they had to go back and kind of fix up that first movie, and they did. But yeah, it's really interesting. And once you really dive into the lore of that series and just how deep it really all goes, yeah, it's definitely a show that's I really do need to sit down and watch it again. And I also need to see the film because they did a movie that kind of capped it off. And there was a spin-off series, and it all connects together pretty well. A lot of actors from Trek showed up on B5. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Walter Koenig being probably the main one, because he shows up in Babylon 5 as a kind of like a recurring villain. And his character is actually named after a science fiction writer named Alfred Bester. And he what did they call him? Psychor. They called him Psychor. And these were guys who they were kind of like these kind of recurring villains, and these kind of like the CIA who would like literally go in and mess with their head, you know. And
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
very very evil characters. It's like, but it's Chekhov, and you just want to like toss him out of the airlock, you know. And I actually don't remember what happened to his character, if anything. So that's one of the reasons why I need to go back and watch again, because I'm starting to forget. Deep State Space, that's exactly what they were. Yeah. So
I have not watched Babylon 5. One day I will. I'll say sometime between now and my death. And I have to unfortunately commit to that because, well, I watch one. I'm one of those guys where I only watch no more than 2 shows at a time, because especially with the serialized format of the last 15, 20 years, I can't keep up with that many things. And then I end up ultimately finishing nothing. So it's like, okay, I got to pick something or just do a few times. And because of that, I end up missing some things I never get around to because so much always comes out. And I've said a lot of stuff of recent years to make sure I commit to Trek. And Trek is a big commitment. And it shows you how big of a commitment it is, because you're used to these shows nowadays where it has anywhere between 6 to 10 episodes. The first season of Star Trek had 29 episodes, 50 minutes each. I was like, wow, we used to be a proper country. We used to have full seasons of episodes. Now we basically get like, maybe nowadays we just characters who just got done saying hi. Or nowadays you get like a show, let's just say, just hypothetically speaking, called The Surfer. And it's about this guy who wants to learn how to surf, but he doesn't surf until the last 2 minutes of the last episode. And all it was is 5 to 6 episodes dragging us along until he gets that one moment to surf at the very end. And you can't say that hasn't been the formula for a lot of shows recently. I think for some stuff that can work, but when you try to apply that one size fits all on it, it can get very tedious.
Indeed. And yeah, exactly, because you just said 29 episodes. Half-hour shows would go as many as like 32 episodes. It's like calling these shows that just do like 5 or 6 episodes, calling them seasons. No, just call it what you are. You're a miniseries.
Yeah, they basically are. It's like one of those things. It's like, it doesn't make them bad all the time. It's just, how are these being called seasons? Which, funny enough, I know a lot of like the British shows, like the IT Crowd or IT Club. I can't remember what was the title for it. It was one of the IT something. those actually are mini seasons, but for them that's considered their seasons because they only have 4 to 5 20-minute episodes. What's up, Tree Rock Creations? Long time no see. Yeah, and they basically are mini seasons. They're basically like a mini moment, and even amongst the good moments, it's still a mini moment. I remember when Dexter's Laboratory would come up for a new season of those cartoons. You get several 15-minute episodes that'd be like 30, 40 of them. It was delightful. It was wonderful. Even Batman the Animated Series had like 25 episodes. Granted, they were all half hour each, but still, it was 25 freaking episodes of a children's cartoon. Man,
right?
How the times have changed and how the turns tabled. Yeah.
And very, and you didn't have in many cases filler episodes. The closest they might have come to a filler episode would be something like what they used to refer to as bottle shows, where you would trap the lead characters somewhere in like one location for the episode, and that's where they would save their money for the season. So, and it would usually be either mid-season or late in the season, so they could have enough money to do their big finale at the end, and that's the way everybody did it. But these days, exactly, it does feel like, and oh yes, hello to our man from the future, Sashi, and Joe's Atmosphere, who is going to be an upcoming guest here in the next couple of weeks. Yes.
What's up, buddy?
And yes, and so what I was saying was that it seems exactly, because it seems like it's this build up, and then you have 2 minutes and then it's over. You didn't have that luxury back then, because not only that, is you actually had proper, and this is something that Critical Drinker harps on a lot, and he's right, is that you had actual writers, you had people who had life experience. When you had the writers for Star Trek, you have people who are growing up during the Depression. You have people who went to war. James Doohan got a finger shot off on D-Day.
Yeah,
these were people back, behind the scenes and in front of the camera who had been places. So they had that knowledge, and it showed on screen and in the writing. And we don't really have that anymore. You have these kids who are coming out of college and going, why am I not a showrunner already? Because you haven't written anything.
Well, the colleges have now been invested with teaching them to have that entitled mentality, that merit is not a thing, and you can just wind your way to the top. And that definitely does not help anything. That's why I'm not putting my children in a university. And the amount of people who like, no. Why would I do that? Like, unless they have to want to be like a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse, I guess you kind of have to, because that's quite literally the only two places. But right now, their ambitions are not lying in that. And I said, unless you want to be those two things, there's no reason to do a university. There really is not. No. So there's no need to get into. We need people who have life experiences, not ones who is living off of social media, begging for validation, living through others. We need people who live life. And I feel like they're out there. I feel like we're just going our way to not hire them. I feel like 2026 has been a bit of improvement, though, comparatively. Once again, speaking to the previous years, it feels like we're getting some stuff again. And it helps that we got like some of these horror movies that are really hitting it big and resonating with people, whether it's Markiplier's movie, as it called Iron Lung, and of course
saw that last night.
Backrooms. Did you like it?
I did.
Nice. That's good. I love it.
I was not prepared for how gory that movie gets for a movie that's just one guy in a submarine, basically. But it gets intense. I mean, it. Not to go too deep into it, because I haven't done a review yet, but it basically goes into like Event Horizon territory by the end of it, and it's a good one. It's a good one. A little long. You could have maybe shortened the second act up a bit, but Yeah. I've been talking about this for a while. I have this phrase that I've repeated on my channel: be the competition. You know, because you have Markiplier, you have Curry Barker now, you have Kane Parsons. You know, I know a lot of people rag on Stuckman, but my name's on Shelby Oaks, and I stick by it. You know, Chris Rupert with Transient. That's a good movie. It's on Amazon. Check it out, please. You know, so we are seeing, you know, YouTubers kind of hearing that call. It is us now. We have to make our own. We have to make our own entertainment.
I like it. I like, granted, like horror. I wouldn't say horror is a go-to genre, but there's definitely some movies I guess you could say I would dub a favorite that happen to be in that genre. And I'm glad it's starting somewhere. And horror is one of the cheaper genres you can pull that off with, whether it's horror comedy. Those are cheaper, easier to budget, so you do have that advantage. And it shows you don't have to go through all these big mega outlets to get these movies done. So even when I eventually see some of these movies, even if I end up not liking them, I'm sure I won't hate them, but I'm just liking that we got original ideas, and it shows you they are out there. They just clearly have been gate kept, and we just got to get more of them. And hopefully, some people are creating things that could end up being some one and dones, some future franchises, and of course, hopefully, more people come forward that have other ideas that are original as well. Because, yeah, I love where I came from. I'm not going to deny that, but I also want the future generations to have things to call their own too. Because whether we like to hear it or not, as older men and ladies, if they are there in the chat, you know, the thing is, the things that we like, sometimes they do cross over generations, and a lot of them they don't. And when you're a kid coming up, you want to get into the new thing of your time, and those kids deserve things to call their own. And at least with horror, they're getting it somewhere. So it's a start, and hopefully more can follow for current generations to have something to get inspired by. Because to me, a healthier industry is where we're not having to constantly refer to the past in order to get any traction specifically.
You know, because I'm not just saying just horror movies either. You know, who is the next Mel Brooks? You know, who is the next David Mamet? You know, they're out there.
Yeah,
they just have to be given. They just have to be given the opportunity, and hopefully now
they got to take the opportunity.
They will get that and take the opportunity. Yes, you know, you know, whether you get like an A24 or a Neon behind you, you know, sometimes you can't. You know, so sometimes you just got to do it on your own. You know, did Robert Rodriguez have studio backing when he did El Mariachi? No, he just had some locations that he knew he can use and friends that he knew he could get for the movie, and that's what he did, and that's how he got started. You know, the thing that I always go back to in my mind was years ago. There was a story on one of the entertainment shows where they were at a film festival. I don't remember if it was Sundance or Telluride. It was one of those. And there was this very quick shot of a kid probably 19, 20, 21, something like that, showing his film projected on a sheet taped to a side of a building with two people watching. I go, I want to see that guy's movie.
Nice.
I don't care about anybody else. I want to know where that guy ended up.
That's great. And that's good.
Because
you took something away from it.
Yeah. So, you know,
I love to hear that. That's great, dude. And shows you once again the talent is out there. It's just whether we find it or it finds us, it's out there, and it's just waiting to be seen or heard. However we go about getting there. That's wonderful, dude. I love hearing that.
Yeah. And Joe's Atmosphere saying, congrats to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Hockey Yay. Team?
I believe so, yes. Team? Hockey.
Okay, hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, the Knicks won the NBA Finals, which is why New York is currently on fire. As it always manages to be. But that's another show. So, yeah, you know, that's what I want to see is we're almost kind of getting this, and it happens every few years, you know, we get this resurgence of independent media. And hello to the Horror King. Good to see you, sir. We get this resurgence of independent creators, and not just in film, in comics as well, because I always find myself gravitating towards the independents. Yeah, because if I am looking through if I'm looking through the store and Gail Simone's name is on it, I'm not likely to buy that, you know. Oh, okay. Yeah. Spawn with a female character might work as McFarlane. Hey, oh, back on the shelf. You know.
Yeah.
And no thanks. I think I'm good. Okay. Yeah,
I'm good too. But, and I have no desire to want to go back to stuff from Marvel, DC. There's only one comic I've enjoyed in the last 6 years that I've tried from DC that I still enjoy. Outside of that, the few that I've tried in the last over half a decade were all bad. There's a lot I haven't read that looked even crappier. The things I did try to give a shot were crap, except one. And that's it, over half a decade. That should tell you something. And everything else I enjoy either comes from other publishers, whether it's the ones online, whether it's stuff like the Rippaverse, or of course the stuff going on with Mark Miller and Miller World. Obviously, then there's the stuff on like Fun My Comic with like my buddy Russ Leach, of course Vaughn Coleman as well. So there's so much stuff out there. It's great. And rather than just worry about the 900th franchise property that I know is going to get burned, and I'm seeing the demolition, fire, or whatever you want to call it happen for the millionth time, expecting the same outcome, blowing the definition of insanity. There's stuff now that's out there in movies and in comics, hopefully animation next, to replace these things that clearly are run by big companies that they don't want to turn around. That kind of makes me think about what you said earlier with Paramount, Star Trek, thinking that they turn around. I mean, will they? I don't know. I don't know if I have a optimistic view or a pessimistic view. I just feel like who knows? Because the thing is, and this is something I feel like we gotta consider. All these things now are run by corporations. It's kind of like when someone who operated a food joint, like, have you heard of Portillo's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Portillo's was run by this guy named Dick Portillo. And obviously, he created the company, got it going, became a success. Then he sold the company. And now when you sell a company, you don't have the same life's blood. You don't have the same blood, sweat, and tears that go into it, the same love, the same passion. You're inheriting someone else's work, but without all the blood, sweat, and tears. Will a big mega corporation have that same type of blood, sweat, tears, life experience that a Dick Portillo had, but for a TV show? Will they see the same things the same way a Gene Roddenberry did or George Lucas? That's where it can be a little bit tough, because they only see opportunities to make money, which I don't really care if they want to make money. It's more of like a, can you make it good and you just happen to make money? Then I don't care. But they just see everything as these superficial ideas, and that they need to appeal to absolutely everybody. And it seems like we're saying the same thing with Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Marvel, DC. They all had the same playbook, even at different studios. Try to appeal to absolutely everyone on the planet and be shocked when it appeals to no one. And not one of them has taken the time to think, what is what made this work? Not, oh, let's just make this work to absolutely everybody. And now you're even having the issue a little bit happen in video games as well. Granted, I'm not an active gamer in the last several years actually, but I've heard enough of the stories to know about it when they've like made games appeal to the least common denominator. And that's a very unreliable demographic. It's a short-term win. And we got to stop seeing short-term wins as a win, because those short-term wins, they come and they go.
Indeed. I'm not really, again, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a game aficionado. I think to me, video games peaked with Galaga.
Mm-hmm.
And and that was it. Well, really Dragon's Lair, but you kind of get the idea. When it comes to video games, I'm trapped in the 80s. But I have a Steam account now, so I'm going to try and get to a few of these other because they have independent games now, and I'm starting to get curious about those. So I'm sticking my toe back into gaming. We'll see how it goes, but I hear the stories from, and hello to my roommate walking through the video camera again, because my house is Grand Central Station now, apparently. Okay. The people who are in and out of here, my God. Yeah. I should start charging rent. Oh, wait. No. So what happens is that, I'm kind of, like I said, I am now kind of dipping my toe back in to see what's what. And I'm kind of curious as to, what I forgot the name of the game, because we're talking about, because I have my Live from Sparkwood 21 program, right? And we're talking about, there's a game that's coming out here in October, I believe, that is kind of Twin Peaks inspired. And so I was like, okay, I'm kind of curious. We might do a show on it. I'm curious about maybe, playing this game later on. And so, yeah, I'm looking into that, and I've been hearing a lot about, because Troy's been talking about Fallout 4 a lot. I'm kind of curious. Okay, Fallout 4, I might play that. So I'm kind of looking into it, but I'm kind of starting it with the kind of the independence again, kind of going in with this sort of independent mindset of these people who are like,
man. It's where the future's at.
Again, we can't count on the big game companies anymore. Much like the big studios, the big film studios or the networks, we can't count on them anymore. So we got to go in for the people who still are in it for the love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my that's kind of my thought on that. Horror King is saying, I would suggest anyone here play Little Nightmares 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Have to keep that in mind. And the Creep Tapes, season 3. Oh, they're in season 3 already. Okay. Will be coming to Shudder. Yeah. Yeah, Shudder. You want to talk about someone who knows their audience? Shudder.
Yes.
And they are the one streamer who are like putting their films on physical media.
Good.
I got it sitting right over there, the 10th anniversary box set that I got to sit down and read. And I got read that too. I've got enough books to start a library, but so I got to sit down and start watching that because I want to review all of those,
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up, because there was this fun thing that happened. There's kind of this this snafu that happened, because Late Night with the Devil was supposed to be part of the box set.
Mm-hmm.
The trouble is, not everybody got Late Night with the Devil. So, and I was in the middle of a live stream where I was unboxing this thing. You can see it. It's up there with Sense Corner. And I'm going through this thing, and I get the Late Night with the Devil. We're both big fans of that movie. We both saw it in theaters, and because it had a very limited run, but I got to see it. And I go, all right, the next Late Night with the Devil. Oh, son of a bitch. And it's like the Rule of Jenny Penn. It's this whole other movie. It's not in the set. But I didn't go and like complain about it or ask for another copy, because I already had Late Night with the Devil on Blu-ray because Shudder already put it out there. So they saved, but yeah, I mean, Shudder knows who its audience is. They play to it. They don't pander. They play to it. We know what our audience likes. So those are the movies that we're going to make, so
it's important to know who your audience is, because here's the thing. And this is something a lot of major corporations do not understand, is everything is not going to appeal to everyone. It's funny how they always say they're kind of changing the game or they're being innovative, and really they're all just kind of following the same playbook when they all want to appeal to absolutely everybody with everything. And you just can't. The amount of things that appeal to absolutely everybody is incredibly rare. Very few things rarely unify the world. It's nice, sure, when you have those things, but they assume that because it happened in one thing, it can automatically happen to everything else. They don't consider the whys, the hows. They just see as, well, the money was there, so that made the dollar can automatically translate there. But the how and the whys are very important. And that is a huge problem that they are not considering, is the variables. And you got to consider that. And they're not. And I think we got a lot of people in our corner. I say this with the absolute, like, people say no disrespect, and they kind of mean disrespect. I truly, genuinely mean no disrespect. But we got a lot of people in our corner of YouTube who are kind of stuck in that hard, like between a rock and a hard place, because it's, do you want things to get better? Or are you truly looking for alternatives, or are you just waiting for the thing that you like, hoping to get it better? Because there's a possibility that the thing that you like, whatever that thing is, insert your favorite franchise property here, never does get better. And we gotta not be afraid to consider that outcome. It's not favorable. I understand that. I get it. I was a big Marvel, Spider-Man, Daredevil guy for many years. I understand that. Trust me, I would know. But we may never get something to the way it was. You'll probably have some stuff that might be better, especially compared to what we've seen in recent years. I'm sure you'll have moments, but it's never be full swing because the heart is gone from it. You don't have the same people who run it from the top to the bottom. You don't have the same creative engine. It's all people who are there just trying to make money at it and doing bad job at making money at it. And I'm not saying, once again, the making money part as agreed is bad. I'm just saying they think things automatically translate to dollars just because it exists. And hell, I know that because Zachary Levi even said it himself when he was on FNT a few months ago, that they don't consider variables. They just think things just make money just because they exist. And people go to things simply because it exists. It's like, that's really not the case. I'm glad there are actors who are aware of that, but it's clear that a lot of the bigwigs and their superiors are very oblivious to that, and they've not caught on to it. Wow. I see that Shudder comment from the Horror King.
Yes.
That's crazy, man.
I don't want to ignore the chat. I know I've said this before, but for anyone who missed it, I'll say it again. In my opinion, Shudder is the best streaming service out there. Agreed. There, because it cost me $47.88 a year. If you break that down, it's $3.99 a month. They also don't remove any of their original movies or TV series. They don't. Let me see. Shudder even releases their movies and TV shows, DVD and Blu-ray. That's what we said, which is something you don't see from Netflix, Disney Plus, etc. very often, if at all. No, I mean, when it comes to Netflix, I mean, you can pretty much count on one. I mean, the last movie that they released that I remember went to Blu-ray was All Quiet on the Western Front.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a few years now.
It has been. I know.
And I think Stranger Things, I think they put out on DVD.
A box
That's
set.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do got K-pop Demon Hunters on the way. K-pop Demon Hunters
Well,
is on the way. And I know
okay,
that definitely
makes
has
sense.
its fans for sure. It has taken off.
It's a good film. I was
I haven't
surprised.
seen it. My kids love it. They think it's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I'm glad that they love it. And it seems like even people in our corner like it too, which is cool.
Mhm.
And it's cool to see something like that take off. Once again, an original idea. Once again, you see a pattern here. Project Hail Mary, Obsession, Backrooms, K-pop Demon Hunters, The Sheep Detectives. A lot of things that are making their mark.
Great film. Good film for families.
I know it was.
Yeah.
A lot of these things that are making their mark this year are things that are not, sequels, remakes, rebootquels, prequels. They're all things that are coming out for the first time. And even last year, we had some stuff like that with Weapons and Sinners as well. There's clearly a pattern here. Don't tell me that there's no market for an original property. It's clear that there is. You can maybe make an argument at best that it's not as big, sure, but guess what? Not everything starts off having a big market as well. And that's why I hate that comment. Well, we need to go do a sequel franchise because that's where an audience is. It's like, okay, I get that. You're not wrong. But guess what? Once upon a time, those properties that you want to make 900 more sequels to, they didn't have an audience at one point either. They had to do the work to get them to it. And it's good that they don't want to do all that work. They just want the money, once again, to be there. They want to do all the shortcuts with none of the creativity. And guess what? It's going to take the creativity to get there. You can't shortcut success. Even when you do get shortcut success, there are times that they do, ends up coming to like a long-term backfire eventually because short-term successes are exactly that, short-term.
Horking also says Shudder also doesn't have ads that play before, during, or after their movies and TV shows. No.
Wow.
No, you don't get in. You don't get inundated with the ads. Yeah. Chirac said something that I thought was really interesting here. He says Hollywood went downhill when they stopped accepting spec scripts. Yes, and there's a lot of stuff out there that's unproduced. That's fantastic.
Sure, left at the cutting room floor.
That's from these, who are these writers who just year after year plug away, and they're writing some of the best material that's out there, but they're not getting noticed because they don't have their foot in the door. And it's not an IP. It's not Star Wars. It's not. These are not people who want to go and write for Doctor Who. These are people who want to do their own original material. So yeah, I feel that. And hello to Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube. Good to see you. Watch out for her channel, Fluff Chick Productions. Let's see, did I miss anybody else?
I think you got the
no, I think I got everybody.
Yeah, okay. I love to see that. That's delightful. No, it's cool that Shudder has an audience and they know that which movies have more people than others. And is it ironic, Steven? I don't know if you thought about it. Is it so crazy that nowadays there are so many more resources to try to figure out what your market is, and yet Hollywood seems so much more clueless. And yet back then they had less resources, and yet somehow they were able to gauge it better. Have you ever thought about that? Because I've noticed that it's like they had less resources. Nowadays, they're so much closer to having their finger on the pulse with YouTube and social media. You would think this would actually be easier for them to gauge it. And somehow, ironically, they have not very missed the mark as much as they have until the recent years.
Well, I think what it is, it's kind of a double-edged sword because you can go too far with test screenings and focus groups and stuff like that. But the point was they did it in the first place, and they listened to what works. Because I've known people who've gone to these test screenings and like filled out these questionnaires. Which characters did you like the best? Why? did this scene work for you? Did it not? I filled out one. I can't really talk about it because the movie's not out yet. But so even I've done this. What worked for you? What didn't? Was this too long? Should we take this out? They asked you. They cared. These days, I think that, quite frankly, I think they think we're stupid. And if they just slap Star Wars on it, that it's automatically going to be this $1 billion hit. Yeah, obviously it's not going to be anymore
because it simply exists to them. They think just because it exists, we automatically show up, which couldn't be any further from the case. Go ahead, continue on.
And I said this the other night, and this is something that actually got a little bit of traction on Twitter. I said, we are not obligated to see these movies. And that's what they don't get. We went to go see Obsession because, number one, we know who Curry Barker is. We know the road that he's been on. We've seen his YouTube channel. Milk and Cereal, which is the first movie he did, is fucking brilliant. It is scary as crap, that movie. Because he does that crazy eyes thing really well, and in that point in the movie when you realize he snapped. That is creepy as hell, and but the point is he's been there. He has his finger on the pulse of the people. So does Kane Parsons. He does what works for him. That's the thing is, and they're trying to be original. It's not a bunch of, which is why I want to say to these guys, don't let Hollywood get their hooks into you. Do your thing.
Don't ask for permission.
Don't ask for permission. Do your thing. Be your own man or woman. I want to see more women get out there. And I know we have women here within our sphere who are absolutely capable of going out and doing. I know Jester Bell's been talking about this movie that she wants to do. Go to it. I want to see that. I want to see. Okay, we've seen the guys. I know we have women here within our YouTube sphere here who are fully capable of going out, making their own films, writing their own books, writing their own music. I've run into a couple of musicians along the way. Go to it.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
You got my support. How do I help? Where do I sign?
Yep.
I had a fellow who approached me a little while back. He said, "I've seen you on YouTube, and I like a lot of what you've had to say. Could you help me out on some completion funds to get my movie done?" And okay, and he sent me all the information on it, and okay, so that's getting done now, So I kind of decided, I got to put my money where my mouth is, I'm telling people, go out there and support independent creators. And I said, well, I can't say that and then sit back. So, that's why I threw in on Rogue Elements and Shelby Oaks, and Transient, Island in the Stars, when Tom Conkle's able to get that made. That's going to be fantastic when he does.
Mahler's movie, I think, finally came out. I think he posted on his channel. I have actually heard good things about it. I've not watched it, but I heard Mahler's is finally out, and apparently it's actually good, which is great to hear.
Good.
Even if it ends up being okay, it's a start. It's a start. Let's just pretend it's just average, mediocre. It's a start. I mean, and a guy like that's going to get better.
I know there are people who rag on Shelby Oaks, and it's not a perfect film.
Doesn't need
to be. No, the point is that he got it made in the first place.
Yeah.
He stuck to it. He went, you know what? I'm going to make a film. Wrote it, directed it, fantastically fucking cast it. Everybody's great in it, I think.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Because you got Keith David is in it. Michael Beach is in it. Camille Sullivan stars in it. She's always 110% in everything she's in. I love her to death. I'm glad she was in that movie. It's it's not the matter of India and how it turns out. I mean, you would prefer the movie to be good, yeah, but the point is it was done in the first place, and that's what everybody's forgetting. We can't forget that. Is that it's still, regardless of how it turns out, that is still a person's blood, sweat, and tears. And if one doesn't work out, it's like in Ed Wood, oh, what'd you think? Worst movie you ever saw, huh? Well, the next one will be better. Hello, and I would be the guy on the other end of the phone saying, yes, make the next one better. I'm with you, but so yeah,
I've not heard anything that bad about Shelby Oaks, and I'm glad. I've heard people say it's all right to not good, but I've not heard anyone say it's absolutely abysmally terrible. I think that's a good sign. I think that's a real good sign that people are curious, and once again, it proves that there is a market for these movies, for original ideas. We're saying it several times in the last 26 and 25. We're seeing people turn up for movies that are not based off of 800 sequels, prequels, requels, reboots, remakes in the last 2 years, and a lot of them succeeding. I love seeing that. It shows you that, yeah, the audience is real. And guess what? You have to do the work in order to get them to come out for more of these things. You can't just have the shortcuts. And I'm glad, hopefully Stuckman, I'm not really wild about his YouTube channel, but I'll happily give one of his movies a shot. I will happily do that because I want a guy like that to hopefully succeed doing movies. Because for all I know, there could be a bone in his body that is just ready to find his niche, find his tribe, find his crowd, and make his mark. And then say, hey, I had a good time doing commentary, but I'm ready to move away and pursue this full time. And that'd be a great world to live in. I think it's cool that we're in this world where a lot of these things are coming out and succeeding, and they're not based off of things from big, giant, mega corporations. It's clear that there's a pattern. I believe in pattern recognition, and the future is not in the mainstream. And I actually would make the argument, I don't think the term mainstream is going to be a term of the future. And I think, depending on your perspective, Stephen, I think you can thank or blame the internet, once again, depending on how you see it. I think the term mainstream is probably going to be a term that's going to go the way of the dinosaurs in the next 10, 15 years, because the internet has made everything non-mainstream yet non-underground, because everyone now has access to anything, whenever, wherever they want now. So now all barriers are broken. You don't have limited access because something's so underground, but at the same time, now that there's so much more, competition's like a lot tougher. Because it's tougher, you have to play competition with people, who would take your potential fans. So yeah, there's a lot more things. There's a lot more outlets. You could say the market's saturated. Okay, fine. Well, so doing your best is very important. So you could try to win as many people over as possible. But at least we have this market where new ideas can thrive.
Right on. And speaking of that, Mark Malikoff says, I'm a firm believer in while it's closed, walk away. It applies to more than just TV and films. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I look at this when they say to us, "Oh, we didn't make it for you." Oh, okay, good. Thank you for saving me 2 hours. I will go over here to this other film where the filmmaker obviously wants me to go see the movie. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why Obsession and Backrooms, this other independent movie that came out earlier this year, I Swear, it did so well. Why Project Hail Mary did so well, because I think, and I even did a whole show about this, about Ryan Gosling at the premiere going, it is not the job of the fans to keep movie theaters open. It's our job as actors and filmmakers to make something that is good enough to make people want to go to the film, to go to the theaters, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad that somebody figured it out, You know, I mean, I know he's going to be in this Starfighter thing. I hope for his sake it's good. We'll see. Horror King also said, last night I watched a movie called Friwaka, I guess. Okay. On Shudder, which was filmed here in Ireland. Yes. Friwaka is a horror movie based on Irish folklore. In case you're wondering, it's Irish for roots. Says I would suggest anyone here has Shudder. Check it out. It's worth it, but a slow burn. Yeah, I don't mind if a movie's a slow burn.
I think it depends for me. Some things you gotta have a fast pace, but I think some movies it works to as a
need to build up. Yeah,
yes, some things benefit from that.
Yeah, so it can work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how much longer do I have you for? You said there was
We got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what is up next for the channel?
The Untouchables Toxic Tuesday. That is going to be exciting because we're going to be going into the next month of doing some of the more gangster movies. We'll do that. We'll do Casino. We'll do Heat. We've already covered some ground recently with Scarface way back when we did Goodfellas. We'll probably do Miami Vice as well. So it's time we go get sophisticated, get our cigars out, and be classy with the boys. It's going to be great. Toxic Tuesday coming off the 5-year anniversary. The future is beautiful, man. And it's great because we have a crowd that stuck with us. And we've gone through a lot of like crazy like changes. And when you go through changes, whether it's like the copyright claims or YouTube strip removing streams to the point where you can't even watch them privately, and then going away on Rumble exclusive for 6 months, and then going through streaming issues with Streamlabs. And now on top of it, YouTube's like tinkering is a lot worse than ever. And then you also have to consider that a lot of people are kind of like more or less like past the culture war. I feel like the arguments have peaked, but we're still here, like, having our say in it. So there's not as much interest per se. So things come and go in ways. And I think there will be interest that'll come back around again. But for the time being, I see a lot of channels. They're still getting by. The numbers aren't what they were. And I'm the same way. My numbers are what they used to be. But what I care about is that I still have an audience. They care to be there. They still want to listen. So whether it's 15 people watching Nick's Talks Trek, or anywhere between 20 and 30 still watching Toxic Tuesday, or my 15 to 20 that watch Clubby's Comic Shop, as long as I have an audience that wants to be there, I'm going to keep going. That is my thing. So as long as I have people, whether it's 5, 20, 30, 50 or more, I am here for the people. So, and I'm grateful for that. I'm also in a very lucky position where outside of 1 or 2 months, I have gotten a monthly paycheck from Google every month since September of 2021. I'm so lucky for that. I am very lucky for that. And that's something I don't take for granted. That's what's coming on my way. Oh, and I'm going to start finally posting videos again on YouTube on my channel. It's been about a year, but this is the month I start. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm antsy. So yes, a lot of things are coming out my way. Lots of things. I got to get you back on Toxic Tuesday eventually, and for sure Nick Talks Trek someday.
Right on. Okay. Well, we'll let me know what's open, and we'll work something out. Cool. Absolutely, I'm down.
Be honored to have you back on. You're overdue, dude. You are so overdue. And I think I'm going to do. I got a few ideas of where I'm gauging a member stream, so I will let you know when as well on that. So I like hanging out with the members too. That's another thing. It's always fun hanging out with the channel members, and you're one of them. You're one of them. You're one of them, Steven. I appreciate it. But I gotta ask you something. I gotta ask you something. What movies for the rest of the year do you have your eye on? Big or small movies? What are some ones like? I guess I'll throw a number 3. What are 3 movies that you have your eye on? Okay, I want to see this when it comes out.
3. Godzilla -0 for sure.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be the big one for me. I'm kind of curious about Tom Cruise's movie Digger. I think it's out in November. That's one. Let's see. 3. What would the other one be? Because I've kind of up to this point in the year, all of the ones I wanted to see, I've pretty much seen. I'm not. What? Help me out, guys. What's coming out between now and the end of the year?
Robert Eggers.
All of that. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. Yeah, definitely. I'd give that a look.
Oh, I will.
Because I tell you one thing. When it comes to Eggers, there are movies that he's done that I've liked more than others, but I've never been bored. I got in trouble with The Lighthouse because I took my girlfriend at the time to it. And she was not down with it at all. And I'm like, I think the close-ups of the mermaid vaginas was not. She was not down for that, But yeah, that happens. And she walked out of that one going, "This is the stupidest movie you've ever taken me to." I'm sorry.
No, it's good, man. It's good.
But if you're down for this kind of Lovecraftian movie about the Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe going crazy in this lighthouse, this movie's for you. I fucking loved The Northman. That's a good one. That's my favorite of his so far. Got this basically Hamlet meets Conan. It's great, and not as much action as you think is going to be in it, but strangely, it's just enough, So yeah, I guess those would be my 3. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but yeah, because I'm kind of keeping myself kind of in the now. What's going to be out? I'm kind of more like what's going to be out next week or the week after that, because we do the mystery movies, and those are usually movies that are going to be coming out in like the next week or 2, sometimes 3. So, like for example, there was a movie that kind of nobody really noticed that came out this week called The Furious, which is like this Indonesian action movie. It's pretty good. But I saw it a couple of weeks ago at this advanced screening. So, I'm kind of, I am on occasion watching movies a few weeks ahead of everyone else. So it's got me kind of thrown off as to like release dates and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess those would be my 3, with Godzilla really being the don't miss movie for the rest of the year. Yeah. And if it's half as good as Godzilla -1, I'll be happy.
Same. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
So, yeah. And he's got everybody back for it. And it's the guy who wrote, directed, and did the visual effects for the first movie. Everybody's back, And again, and a filmmaker who's kind of doing this kind of, I mean, he's got Toho's backing, but, it's kind of, it's his story. It's his, he's taking this, again, this IP, if you want to call it that goes back to the 50s, that he's revitalized. So he's doing it right. And I'm glad that he turned down doing a Star Wars film, because they went to him, will you do the next Star Wars? He said, no, I'm doing my own thing, so good for him, so there you go. But yeah, I guess those would be my 3 if I had to pick one. Godzilla. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that, dude. No, the future is good, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I think it is. I mean, yeah, there have been some duds, but this year I think has been a better year in film for a while. There have been a few movies that have come out this year that really ticked me off. But for various reasons. But I got to tell you, if I go back and think of all of the movies I saw this year so far, there's been more that I've liked than I've disliked. And that hasn't happened for a while.
It's nice,
So,
right?
It is.
It's so nice. It really is. And like you, like those are probably my top 3 as well. Werewolf, Digger, and Godzilla minus zero. And I'm hoping, like the obsessions in the back rooms before us, maybe something else will come up by surprise and say, "Oh, hey, that seems to be something I want to see." I'm hoping something, whether it's from a YouTuber or anyone. I just want something to come out of the blue and do it. I'm not expecting it, but I'll most certainly welcome it. I am, me and my kids are big fans of the Despicable Me franchise, and that's probably one of the few major big franchises that actually seems to be in safe hands. I'm looking forward to Minions and Monsters. Those are very fun, dependable, super high flicks. And Minions and Monsters look so chaotic. I was like, wow, this movie looks batshit insane. And I am stoked for batshit insane.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know. We don't know. Again, there could be some other independent movie we haven't heard of that'll come on. Maybe something like, is it like the Minions and Monsters that could come up and be the surprise hit, because there are people who come back to those films too. So,
oh yeah. I mean, Despicable Me 4 made like 950 million 2 years ago. I don't see why Minions and Monsters won't do the same, if not more.
There you go.
Yeah.
All righty. So we do have to get you out of here because you are on a time clock, and we do have to get everybody over to Troy's channel for Doctor Who Invasion of the Daleks Part 2. All right. So
Stephen, I'm so grateful for this. Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to carve out this time to get you on, and I've been wanting to get you on the show for a while. And
Let's do it again.
You've been busy, and yeah, we do need to do this again. Absolutely,
would love to. I would be honored, please, and thank you.
Indeed. So, all right, I want to thank everybody who was following along on X tonight. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to thank everybody who is in the chat. Mark Malnikoff, the Horror King, Connie Clary, our man from the future, Sashi. Tree Rock Creations, Joe's Atmosphere, who is going to be an upcoming guest here. Stay tuned for a date and time. Troy Netter, Boomer, thank you once again, Netter, for the gifting the membership. Congrats to Dee Penzak. Great to have you on board, sir. Thank you, Nate, for the member chat. All right. I think that was everybody who was live, who was at anyway. Okay. The end of Lady Miss. The emoji green. Thank you for joining us. Indeed. So, and we have coming up in the upcoming weeks on your channel.
Toxic Tuesday, The Untouchables, Club and Comic Shop, Saturday night, and videos. We're doing them again this month in June. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. It's going to be fantastic. And then someday down the line, this guy's going to be on Toxic Tuesday again and Nick Talks Shrek when it starts back up in July, talking season 2.
Right on. All right. And as for myself, Tuesday night, I almost said mystery movie. We don't have a mystery movie this week. There is, however, over on Troy's channel, if you are a member, and please become a member of Troy's channel, because you will be able to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, right? I'm tired. Every Monday night, 10 p.m. over on Troy's channel, if you're a member. Last call, members night at the movies. This week's movie, Flash Gordon. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. It's going to be a good one, folks. So join us there for that if you're a member, or if you're not a member of Troy's channel, become a member now. It's just $1.99 a month. And let's see. So that means Tuesday night, no mystery movie podcast this week. I think the next one is going to be on the 30th. So that means the next episode of Live from Sparkwood in 21. Troy, Netter, and Boomer and I are going to be watching episode 6 of season 2 of Twin Peaks, entitled Lonely Souls. And let's see. Thursday, I am going to be joining Outlaw Bill for Action Theater. And this week's movie is going to be the 40th anniversary edition of Big Trouble in Little China. Yes, with Kurt Russell as Jack Burton, the biggest badass in the history of film. And let's see. And later on that night is Coming Attractions, where you get to find out what I am going to be up to next week, up to and including my appearance Saturday night on my birthday, the 20th, on Films with Friends with Big Al Presents, and this week's movie, Time Cop, with Jean-Claude Van Damme. So, perfect timing. I'm a big fan of that film. So, all right. That is the show for this evening. Nick, any final words before we wrap it up?
Thanks for hanging out with Steven. Thank you, Steven, for hosting me. And Absolutely. Great to meet some newer faces in the chat and a few that I haven't seen in a while. I hope to see you all around somewhere, wherever that may be.
Indeed. And as I always say at the end of every broadcast, from HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night, take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win. And I got to remember to put my outro video back up. Okay. All right. There is music. I got to find it. Get it together, man. Music. You're the host. Good night, everybody.
It's even not in Ronan's back. Slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture films in the world we see. Deleted scenes where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Steven out on your YouTube, brother, let's roll.